Greetings. I'm George Boston Ryan with the Get To Free Press, a little social media guy. And I want to continue highlighting what mainstream news media will not publish to the people of Georgia, to the citizens of America and the world. As you know, on May the 25th, 2013, I was placed under a criminal trespass for not violating any law by Lowndes County School Superintendent Wes Taylor and Sheriff Prine following the death of Kendrick Johnson, as far as my audio tape can prove and substantiate, along with two Lowndes County Sheriff deputies' own words, with the words from Sheriff Prine himself and Wes Taylor, the superintendent. You will also hear, if you check this channel out on Boston G.B.R, you will hear witnesses that witness what took place on May the 25th when I was placed under a criminal trespass as a news media individual, quote unquote, of the social media network. And as you know, my motto is we report what others ignore. Today, it has been 5 years, and I am still under criminal trespass, and nobody will remove me in writing. The people that placed me under it, according to audio footage that I've already posted on this channel, they won't acknowledge up to what they've done to me. They have restricted me for 5 years from setting foot on any part of Lowndes County school property. Not only the high school, but the entire school system, for not violating any law, number one. And number two, they gave me nothing in writing, and every aspect of the judicial system of the Southern Judicial Circuit asked the question, how could they do that to you when they put nothing in writing? Well, on the following videos, I'm not going to address so much about my criminal trespass, but I want to show you how the news media refused to report the news items or incidents that happens in the black community. After 5 years of a criminal trespass, bogus I might add, no Valdosta Daily Times, that's the only local daily newspaper we have there, they refused to say one word or to interview me concerning the denial of my constitutional rights and a member of the press just like they are. It seems that the editor of the Valdosta Daily Times would rush over to ensure freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and your right to vote is alive and well, because after all, we send our sons and our daughters off to die if necessary to defend this country. And yet, the local newspapers, the local television stations, the local radio stations in the metro city of Valdosta, Georgia, Titletown, USA, they refuse to publish or to interview me about my rights being denied. And it is indeed a disgrace to all of the airmen stationed at Moody Air Force Base, because it could happen to them. It is disgraceful to the squadron commanders and wing commanders, because it could happen to them. It's a disgrace to Georgia Military College, because students that come from New York and around the country or from overseas, it could happen to them. It is a disgrace to Wiregrass Technical College, because the students attending could be riding down Ashley Street and they could ban them or put them under a 5-year plus and counting criminal trespass, and no news media would even tell their story to the general public. Even more sickening and saddening is that we have a wild adventures theme park that tourists come to enjoy, to take their children, and to just have a good time. But their parents could be stopped and put under criminal trespass for not violating any law by members of law enforcement. No local judge in the Southern Judicial Circuit will even say boo. People that are coming down to go to Kendaloo Golf Course, Francis Lake, recreational facilities, or Grassy Pond, a retirement resort area, vacationing, they could be put under criminal trespass, just like I was. And I violated no law. I had never abused a kid, never got into a confrontation with any educator, never disrupted a public meeting on Lowndes County High School. But following the death of that young man that was found dead at the Lowndes County High School, they placed me under this criminal trespass. Now, you may think that's strange. You may think that that's a figment of my imagination. People go on regardless of topic and they criticize me, but you never heard them, for the most part, ask me for an interview where we can sit down around a table so they can tell me what area or what aspect that I have highlighted that I'm lying about. And so, am I lying when I present audio words from West Hill? Am I lying when I let you listen to Sheriff Prine? I got it on audio. Or am I lying with the tape that I have that I never released, and I'm not going to release it, where I talk to other agencies on tape? Oh no, I don't release everything, but I release enough to let the people who want to know the truth understand that it could happen to them. It could happen to them. It could happen to their children. It can happen to their parents. It can happen to any member of the United States Armed Forces, whether you're in Alford Air Force Base, Nebraska, you come to visit Moody Air Force Base, if you're in Fort Benning, Camp Lejeune, or any other of these military bases, or when you return from Ramstein, Germany, and stationed at Moody, they can stop you and do the same thing to you. You don't have to be living in a black skin. You don't have to be living in black skin. They can just stop you, and when you write the Secretary of State, or when you appeal unto the Georgia Attorney General Sam Olens, or when you appeal unto the governor of the state of Georgia, or when you go to the Atlanta state of Georgia, United States justice system, or when you go to Eric Holder under President Barack Obama administration, and all these government agencies just sit, say, and do nothing on your behalf as a citizen, and in my case, a retired military veteran of the Vietnam era. Now, this could happen to any veteran. If you've been to Kuwait, if you served in Panama, if you served in Germany, if you served in any war of this nation, they could do the same thing for you. And what is most sickening and most saddening is that the elected city councilmen, the mayor, the chairman of the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners, and the commissioners themselves, they don't have any power to say boo, or to at least say somebody need to look into what happened to this citizen, tax-paying citizen. Somebody. Now, I don't have jurisdiction, the commissioners or the city council members should say, but somebody in the state of Georgia need to look into it. Isn't that something? You vote these people into office, but then when it comes down to you, your children, and the people at Moody Air Force Base, they can't say nothing. They can't even seek out to find out who you need to go to get some relief. I know. You say get an attorney. Well, I joined the armed forces in January of 1971. I did not, well, first of all, before I joined, I had to register. And the Vietnam War was going on. I did not, let me repeat, for those people who won't criticize me regardless of what I say. When I turned 18, I didn't have to get an attorney to go register, to sign up, to go fight the wars of this nation if called upon. I didn't need an attorney for that. So if I didn't need an attorney to go and fight the wars of this nation, why should I have to get an attorney to defend myself when I violated no law and have to use a little bit of the retirement money that I get from the government, which is not much, to fight again a system that I fought for 20 years. Now this don't look good to me. It shouldn't look good before Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Germany, Russia. This should not look good in communist China, that a retired military veteran could be stopped by law enforcement, 2 deputies, and state over the sheriff department radio that I am under a criminal trespass and that it was done by Sheriff West Taylor, but then West Taylor said he didn't do it. But West Taylor did say, I think the Sheriff Prime got something, they found something in his record, so they're working something on him. Yeah. So he told Robinson, I think you need to ask the sheriff, ask him. I don't want to say nothing wrong. All this already on this YouTube channel, Boston G.B.R. You can see the whole thing. I have nothing to hide. I believe what Jesus said. Only the truth gonna set us free. And you all think that I'm playing a game. All I want to do is for you all to know how stupid and how Georgia government officials treat everyday citizens, especially if you live in a black-skinned house. Be that as it may. Look, the next videos I'm going to talk about how government agencies, news media network, including HLN, 46 Hours, 3 Minutes, Oprah Winfrey, and the rest of them will not even address documented proof that blacks must face impediments if they want to vote. They are having their votes suppressed by a white pattern and practice, and black Uncle Toms and Aunt Jane who join in with these wicked white people to keep blacks out of office, to intimidate blacks so they will not vote, and to ultimately remove them from positions of power once they are elected by the voters in the state of Georgia. Now, if what I'm saying is untrue, then you should take this upon yourself to call the news media and ask them to interview me to state my case. And my promise to you is I don't want an interview from any Associated Press news outlet. What I will accept is a phone call and provide them with names and information of all, mostly black women, who have been attacked, taken before Superior Court judges, local police, county police, G.B.R, Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp investigators, face bogus federal charges, removed from office only to be replaced once they find out that they put them up on these bogus charges and no judge and no jury would convict them. All of this is a matter of record. And in the United States of America, you would think that your news media and your newspapers and your television stations and your radio would want the people of Georgia and the United States of America to know about these things. But no, no, no. The same white-owned, white-controlled, white-dominated news media, the same thing they did to me by ignoring my criminal trespass without an interview. You think it's just me. But no, man. No woman, no children. They have done this across the state of Georgia with all these cities that I have connected dots that nobody else are willing to do for you. This is why these series of videos that I'm going to put up here in a few days will be showing you that what you thought you had is only a pipe dream. This is the Get To Free Press. Just Google Georgia newly elected black officials, their mistreatment and being removed from office. That's all you have to Google. Or just go to Boston G.B.R. and click on my picture and just start your research. Or to make it short, that's already highlighted and broken down for you who may not know how to operate the web that much and maneuver your way through the ashes. Just go to the playlist, click on the playlist, and see what Secretary Brian P. Kemp has done under his leadership. And you'll hear one passage the late Avery said. The Secretary of State office and the investigators and the G.B.R., they lied on the stand trying to convict the equipment 10+2 and Miss Lula Smart. But they all was cleared of 119 to 200 voter fraud charges. And I'm here to tell you today it's a disgrace. But even a bigger disgrace is when the Valdosta Daily Times, ABC, CBS, Fox, and the rest of them would not even interview me after the death of Kendrick Johnson. And in the case of the Kendrick Johnson, they failed to even publish that Judge Richard Porter was sleeping on the stand repeatedly. And the news media and the Valdosta Daily Times didn't publish one word about it. Boy, you talk about Titletown, USA. This is really Titletown, USA. And you know, they think that nothing's going to change in Valdosta, you know. They think Valdosta, Lowndes County is going to remain the same. I wish they only knew what I do based on the scriptures that is recorded in the Holy Quran, the Torah, the lost books of the Bible, and the forgotten books of Eden, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Gita among the Indians, the Holy Bible under King James Version, the Apocrypha, man, the history of this country, the history of the original black Hebrew Israelites is being fulfilled. And the sooner the world understand that, the closer they'll be to saving themselves before destruction come upon the wicked people of America. When all they have to do is to change their ways. Change their wicked ways. But as it was in the days of old, my God and the God of my ancestors said, wherever he finds you, he will appoint your portion. We as black folk, we as white right people, you don't have to fight the wicked man. They supposed to fight us because it's already written in all the holy books. They're supposed to fight us. That's their job. If you read the first chapter of Job, when the sons of God went to present themselves before the Lord, Satan came in among them. And he thought that he was covered. He thought he could masquerade as a Christian. He thought he could masquerade as a Muslim. He thought he could masquerade as a Hindu. He thought he could masquerade as a Shiite. He thought he could masquerade as whatever name you want to put on him. A rabbi or a Jew. But you don't get past God, man. God is the ECP God, the inter-control point God. And the wages of sin is death. But the gift of God is eternal life. And you can run, but you cannot hide in the day of destruction. Believe me, you don't have to believe in God. Karma will come get you. And when karma comes, according to Scripture, he will appoint your portion. So all I want to do is do what's right and help set the people free. That's why I've been standing for truth for a long time. Because I believe in the God that many people imitate, placate, and duplicate. Yeah, we'll get in the church and we'll clap our hands saying hallelujah, hallelujah, and hallelujah. Y'all have a nice day. But just remember, St. John 8:32, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And Joel 2nd chapter, 1st verse, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountains, that all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, and it is now at hand. Peace be unto you, the ghetto free press. We report what others ignore. And remember, we're going to go city by city, step by step, news outlet by news outlet, because we want you to know unequivocally that I have nothing to hide and that I lie on no one. I'm not a lying man. I don't have to lie. But the wicked people, they lie. Not only do they lie, but they good at it. And God is good after rewarding you for your works while you're here on this universal plane. Bye-bye. You gone? Greetings. I'm George Boston Ryan with the Get To Free Press, and our slogan is that we report what others ignore. This morning I want to be brief, and I want to talk about the areas that I have covered over these many years that has been ignored by your mainstream news media here in Valdosta, Georgia, such as the Valdosta Daily Times, CBS, NBC, Fox, and others, including the radio stations. I have covered many stories and events such as the Quitman 10+2, the Madison, Florida 9, and you can Google on this channel, Georgia newly elected and mistreated black elected officials. But the news media do not, will not, and could care less about republishing and reporting real news in the black community. I get criticized for that and called many dirty names. And I wear them as a badge of honor in the hope that CBS, NBC, ABC, and the rest of them, including MSNBC, Al Sharpton, and the rest of them, I'm hoping that they will come in and call me a liar and put me on their TV stations so I can take the heat from what they bring up against me. When I say to you that in the KJ attorney fees case, Judge Richard Porter III was sleeping during most every aspect of that case, and the news media witnessed this, including reporters from the Valdosta Daily Times, but the general public was never informed about it except through social media. That means the Valdosta Daily Times, NBC, CBS, ABC, WSB out of Atlanta, they all ignore that as if though it's okay in the state of Georgia, as though it is approved by the Southern Judiciary that any judge can sleep, I mean consecutively, in any court case and still render in the case that involves approximately $1 million. Now, I could go and talk about the subject of Walmart Stores Incorporated, how they mistreat their own workers. I put documented proof on the screen in 2008 about how they deny a black person the right to 42 pages of their own literature to train department managers, and they denied it to one black person here at store 2615 in the city of Valdosta, Georgia. You would think that the news media would rush in to interview that person so he could tell his story to the general public. When you see the news media ignores that mayors across the state of Georgia, black, ask for forensic audits to account for taxpayers' dollars, and the news media in the Middle District of Georgia and across the state of Georgia just ignores that and refuse to publish it when their own finance chair says that monies, taxpayers' dollars, are being misappropriated. Yet, the white-owned, white-dominated, and white-controlled mainstream news media will not publish that for reasons yet to be determined. I could go on, but please Google Georgia newly elected black officials. Well, let's go to one more. Let's go to Port St. Joe, Florida. I was down there where black people's home was built on toxic waste dumps. The homes sinking in the middle. Their kitchen one-sided. The roof falling in. And they can't get any news media coverage. I sent this information when I was down there years ago to all of the major news media networks. And do you know, they all ignored the problem that those black tax-paying citizens were suffering there in Port St. Joe, Florida. Now, all you do, Google George Balsa Rhymes in Port St. Joe, and you can see for yourself. So we as black people must wake up and understand that the white Americans never intend to treat you justly. Now, we know not all whites, but those in power want to hold on to power. And they just will not see you as a human or as a human being. Now, that's not a figment of my imagination. You can get angry with me, but I can show you documented proof that they never intended for you to be treated with equal justice under the law here in the United States of America. I can prove that to you. And you can prove it to yourself if you would only get rid of your racist Uncle Tom and Aunt Jane mind and weigh the facts. Now, let me close, but I'm omitting a lot of areas, believe me. But I'm going to come back to Valdosta because, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I've been talking about how the Valdosta Daily Times, the TV stations and radio stations ignores the news in the black community, and just like my criminal trespass, I'm under a criminal trespass by Wes Taylor for 4 years and 9 months. The Valdosta Daily Times has not interviewed me not one time. CBS has not interviewed me not one time, nor any other local, state, or national news media outlet, and is dealing with First Amendment rights. The news media and newspapers don't understand that what they're doing to me soon going to be knocking on their door, and they will have contributed to their own demise by denying me the right of freedom of movement. So that's another story, but it's all on YouTube. Just Google George Boston Ryan's criminal trespass, and you will see how no editor at the Valdosta Daily Times, no reporter in any South Georgia television station, no radio station have ever called me in. And you know why I'm under this criminal trespass? Because I was involved in reporting in the Kendrick Johnson's accident or murder case. That's all it could be. This is what people are telling me, both black and white. But they won't touch that. No national news media. They'll talk about the KJ death, but they won't talk about why they put me on a criminal trespass as a retired military veteran, and I violated no law. Now, let's talk about something else, and I'm going to close this out. If I could, you say, well, Rhymes, you just lying, and you keep talking and bringing up racist issues that are dealing with the black and white issue, but can you prove what you're saying? Yes, I can. I can even prove about the black mayors I'm talking about. But let me hit this right quick. I received a call from an elderly lady in the Hudson Docket area, apartments, if I may say so, and it is federally funded, by the way. It's called Valdosta Housing Authority, Hudson Docket area. This was probably 10, 20 years, I guess. I'm not sure, about 20 years. I got a call, and when I went there, the mother walked me through the back and showed me, that was during the summer, say school kids in the Hudson Docket area don't have nowhere to play. And she said swings are broken. I didn't believe her. So all I did was took a walk. And I took a walk, and this is what I saw. See them splinters? Those are splinters right there. If kids catch their hands on those, you know what happens. Yeah, and that's what they put out there for the black kids and the poor white kids in the Hudson Docket area. And let's just say that they wanted to do what the white kids do, you know, maybe take a slide, on the sliding boards, in their community, in their area. Well, these were the sliding boards that was in there for those children. And these are real pictures. I didn't create these pictures, y'all. I didn't doctor these pictures. I just reported what the Valdosta Daily Times, ABC, WALB-TV, CBS, and others would not publish. They didn't have any swings out there, you see. They also had, well, just put it like, that's a dumpster right there, you see. But this is what was out there. And the thing about it, I know you still can say, well, Rhymes, you created that. You just did that to make a point. This is what one girl, I'll show you later, one girl had cut her hand out there on something. But I went through it, and the elder lady, she's deceased now, but she thanked me for reporting this. And I didn't just report this, my beautiful brothers and sisters. What did I do? Let me tell you what I did. I went to a public meeting, and in public meetings occur in many cities. They probably have a public meeting in your city. You may not go to them, but they have them. They have the meetings. And this is how I developed these pictures. And I brought all of this before the mayor and council here in the city of Valdosta, Georgia. Wait a minute. Let me show you the other side. You see, I want the American people to know that when you send your sons and your daughters to fight the wars of this nation, believing that you are free and that we have the best government on this side of the world of God's creation, well, I just want you to know that everything that I have published on Boston G.B.R, on YouTube, and on blogger.com, the best of my abilities, I tried my best to give you the best, because your news media, they don't want you to know this. Now, if the news media here in Valdosta, I'll say again, I'm not talking about Alabama, I'm not talking about Atlanta, Albany, I'm talking about in Valdosta. If the Valdosta Daily Times, ABC, NBC, if they wanted you to see this, these things that were right outside little kids playing, that's rust. That is rusty guardrail right there. The kids come out, and little bitty kids, you know, kids will eat anything. That was rust. And so I took pictures of it because I know that. I'm retired military, and I have worked in certain areas I can't even talk about right now. But I do know that the federal government requires better living conditions than this for our children. This deceased mother told me, said, Ryan, we have called everybody we can. Will you please come and take a look at what she said, little kids be out in the evening time, and after dark, she say that bats have the little children running in their house when they start coming out. So they'd be all over the place in swarms. And you know, I didn't believe her. And so I came one night and I recorded the bats, and they was going in that roof right there. They would just fill the parking lot, the play area with bats. And this is what I presented. Yeah, I presented this to the mayor and to all the black and white city councilmen. That was a girl right here. She had cut her hand. Her mama brought her out, wanted me to get that in the glass that was out there in that federally funded housing area of Hudson Docket here in Valdosta, Georgia. Now, I presented this. That was a hole in the fence, and you know they have drug dealers that came through there, and the rest is history. And so I did this, and I didn't do like some of us white and Uncle Tom and Aunt Jane Negroes. We just see it, sit, say, and do nothing. I recorded it, and I reported it to the mayor and council at a public meeting here in Valdosta, Lowndes County, and in the state of Georgia, and in the United States of America, in God's world. But do you not know? No news media, the Valdosta Daily Times, CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox locally, nobody said nothing about it. And this is what I want black and white people to understand. They just don't give a damn about you, man. If they cared about you the way you care about your country when you go and put your life on the line, some of you mothers and fathers have lost your sons and daughters while in uniform. But when you see this, and it is presented at a public meeting, and the news media will not even publish it to the people. Just like my criminal trespass. See, I can prove it's all been documented, just like I've documented this. I also have it documented that a 14-year-old girl at Pine Grove Middle School was hog-tied with her hand behind her back. They say she struck her educator. The educators came out, gave written statements that it never happened the way that the police officer wrote it up. The Lowndes County Sheriff Department wrote it up. But nothing ever happened. The girl never got justice. And she went to court, and all you have to do is Google a 14-year-old black girl at Pine Grove Middle School and hear mother and father talk about the injustices. And I went with her to the Valdosta Daily Times editor, and we tried our best to present that case to the people by getting the news media to pay attention. But do you not know? It fell to the ground. All that mother's pain fell to the ground. It just fell on deaf ears. Because once again, our sons and our daughters can fight the wars of this nation, only to fall to the ground when it comes down to having their stories told. And so it does not surprise me when they lied about equipment 10+2 voter fraud charges and all the accusations and the lies they brought up on those people. White people lied on the stand. Black Uncle Toms and Aunt James lied on the stand. But in the final analysis, a lot of them think they're going to get away. But this is why I believe in what the Bible says. You can run. You can run, but you can't hide from the eyes of God. For the eyes of God is in every place, beholding the good and the evil. So you can continue to criticize me with the Get Too Free Press and say I'm a racist. Call me all these things. But I don't hear them calling me in to put me in front of the camera so you can hear what I have to say. And I'll stand before anybody in the United States of America on anything that I have ever published. I will stand before the president. I will stand before Jesus, God, Muhammad, Vashtroff, anybody, Moses, Elijah. I will stand before anybody to prove my case that there is something seriously wrong and that the black man, woman, and their children should not even serve in the armed forces until America starts to treat black people with fairness. So I'm going to close now, but before I close, I want to hit this note. Do you not know? I even recorded the conservative radio station here in Valdosta. When they lied, I got it documented. They can say I'm lying, but I got it documented and posted some of it on my YouTube channel. When they talked about the equipment 10 plus 2 having hundreds of absentee ballots in the trunk of their cars, and that was illegal, and they put all that, ran it all across FM, well, I won't call it a radio station, but I got it all documented. They talked about they need to be brought, and do you not know short form? Let me tell you what happened. All 119 to 200 charges were dropped against the equipment 10 plus 2 after 4 years. And do you not know no news media would even meet the equipment 10 plus 2 at the courthouse? News media didn't even attend the trial. A 19-day court voting rights trial over in Brooks County. Valdosta Daily Times wasn't there. CBS wasn't there. NBC wasn't there. ABC wasn't there. Fox wasn't there. MSNBC wasn't there. None of them. The Democratic Party with DeBose Porter is a disgrace because they were Democrats and they cried out to the Democratic Party for help and support and to help tell the story that they were innocent, but they did not show up. They did not show up. And so at the Lula Smart case, they knew they didn't have any charges. They thought those black folk were going to be Uncle Tom and Aunt Jane and plea bargain, but they didn't. They didn't do that. And so the first trial was a mistrial. The second trial was a mistrial. And by the way, I'll tell you that those first 2 trials that these white people chose had 1 or 2 blacks on it. That's all. But it was a mistrial. And then they gave the equipment 10 plus 2 words that we don't pick the jury. It's a computer up in Atlanta that picks the jury. A computer. Isn't that something? So now they got computers that are racist. Yeah, computers now know how to pick only white people to be on the jury. Isn't that something? This is the state of Georgia now. And you know for a fact that many black soldiers, Marines, Coast Guard, and Airmen, and Navy personnel have died for this country. Isn't that something? Now, if you want to refute what I'm saying, MSNBC, Al Sharpton, if you want to refute what I'm saying, file call newspapers, the Nation of Islam. If you want to refute what I'm saying, New York Times, all you have to do is call me. Just call me, man. That's all you got to do. I'm all over the internet, my phone, I'm everything. And let's get down to brass tacks. And let's see who is trying to stand up for the founding fathers of this great republic. Greetings. I'm George Boston Rhines with the Get To Free Press. Today is April the 16th, 2018, 4:15 a.m. The reason for this video this morning is that I want to talk to the Democratic Party and to the chair of the Democratic Party, G.B.R. Porter. I want to talk to Stacey Abrams and other top candidates running for office across the state of Georgia. As you have seen on many of my videos, Boston G.B.R. on YouTube, there are a group of Democrats, not millenniums, although we have some millenniums, people up to 70 and 80 years old. We have appealed unto the Democratic Party, Chair G.B.R. Porter and others. We have united collectively at various meetings, not on a big scale. It's not about a scale. We just wanted the Democratic Party to hear us. In Sylvester, Georgia, a couple of years ago, it was brought up that we will not vote for the Democratic Party because the Democrats have ignored us. They call us wanting and seeking our financial support and contributions. They tell us that they are recording us and that they will get back to us, and they never did. And so the Democratic Party believe that we're going to continue this one-sided love affair. We give you support financially. We vote Democratic Party. We look for change and recognition. But when we need the Democratic Party here in the state of Georgia and North Florida, the Democratic Party does not come to address our issues. And when Democrats vote, and after they are elected, and when they are attacked by a group of white people and Uncle Tom and Aunt James across the state of Georgia and Madison, Florida, they ignore this group of Democrats. So today I'm not going to be long, but I do want to be firm. I have sent videos to even my beautiful sister and candidate for governor, Stacey Abrams. I have even been in the crowd and didn't say a word. I just observed her, because I have sent videos through her Facebook page, through others in her campaign. And yet, we, the discouraged, disenfranchised group of Democrats, we will let you continue to call us and ask for dollars. We will continue to sit on the sideline and withhold our vote. I repeat, we are withholding our vote. As a retired military veteran, even when I was overseas in Japan many years ago, I'm now retired, I voted for the Democratic Party, straight ticket. I gave money to the Democratic Party. But when I found out that they just totally ignore us, I joined these people out of Columbus. At first, I disagreed with them. But then they made more and more sense to me. When I found out that they would call me and they'll say, we're recording you and we will pass this on to the concerns in the Democratic Party. And it was just like being screwed. And they tell you that you're pregnant. You wait 9-10 months only to be disappointed. And so today, I base this short talk on historic facts that we have gathered over these many years, especially since 2008. Well, why would a group of intelligent veterans, mothers, fathers, community leaders. Why would they withhold their vote and not vote for the Democratic Party when we see the chaos in the Republican Party? Well, you have to understand that after being screwed for all these years, and you think you're pregnant, you're waiting to give birth because you think that you have done something successful with your monies, with your efforts, but the baby never comes. For instance, if you travel to Sylvester, Georgia, you will hear the cry of people saying, with all that we are having to go wrong in this community, the Democratic Party leadership, for the most part, ignore us. If you go to Douglas, Georgia, with Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, who have been taken to court several times, she won her case, found to be not guilty after a mistrial first, and all charges dropped against her along the lines of voter fraud, etc., etc., and the Democratic Party just sit, say, and do nothing. DuBose Porter are fully aware of what goes on in Homerville, Georgia, with a white city councilman by the name of Witherspoon, who has homestead exemption in Florida, in Lowndes County, Georgia, where I reside, and holding public office in Homerville. Yet, nothing happens. The Democratic Party cannot be heard, but the people in Homerville suffer as a result of being ignored. People in Columbus, Georgia, are very intelligent. They are fed up with the Democratic Party because when they need them, they are nowhere to be found. And I'm not going to dwell on that too much. Let's move over to Broxton, Georgia. And by the way, all these names that I'm calling, Google their name under Boston G.B.R. and watch the video, especially in Sylvester, so you will hear Democrats at a public meeting vowing not to vote for the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party, but just to withhold their vote. They talked about being few in numbers, but the numbers are growing. People are tired of being used and having their votes taken away by the Democratic Party, only to believe that they're going to give birth in 9 months and the baby never comes. They are highly disappointed. Move over to Willacoochee, Georgia, wherein voter problems arise. The white mayor was going around paying people to vote, campaigning in a state official car, and much, much more. I'm talking about NAACP district coordinator stood up. All you have to do is Google this and look at the video. And when we address the Democratic Party to come in on these issues, the black candidate lost. The Democratic Party under DuBose Porter just sat, said, and did nothing. Wait a minute. I haven't finished yet. Go over to Davisboro, Georgia. I was called by a group of blacks and Democrats there who was having problem with their white police chief to the degree and to the extent that they were afraid of the white police chief. And when they called me, some of them were so afraid they decided not to pursue it. Did DuBose Porter address that issue in the Democratic Party? I think not. Backed up on facts. So you go to Broxton, Georgia, that's $750 been taken from the taxpayers of Broxton, Georgia. You have heard President Presley speak on that on my videos and the work that I've done. We have sent this information to the Democratic chair. We have posted on our website. We have gone to the Democratic Party, post these videos, but the Democratic Party think that they will continue to make love to us on a one-sided affair and think they have us fooled. And so we expect the baby, but the baby never comes. Let's move on to a little place called Sparta, Georgia, in Hancock County. Hancock County. And the news media must be added into this mix, because the news media here in America, not only the state of Georgia and these local communities, they refuse to connect the dots and connect all these voting problems across the state of Georgia and Florida with the Madison, Florida 9, in case I forgot them. The Madison, Florida 9, originally there was the Madison, Florida 12, but they dropped a few of them because of weak charges they brought them up on. All of this is to suppress, abate, and remove black mayors from office. But the Democratic Party do not care about this. For if the Democratic Party cared about these issues and these cities and these voters and these candidates and these elected officials, there is no way that they would not contact us and ask us, give us a list of those people, those communities, so we can go and look into and show them that we care about them. They haven't called any of us. They play a game. They call us for support, but we are tired. We're tired of being screwed and not getting any results from our actions. Wait a minute, haven't finished yet. Move over to Gordon, Georgia with Mary Ann Whippaloo. All you have to do is Google Gordon, Georgia and Mary Ann Whippaloo and see the hell they put that woman through. You need to see for yourself what they have done to her. And the Democratic Party chair, DuBose Porter, are fully aware of what is going on. How do you know, Brother Rhymes? How do you know? Because I have videos, probably 1,000 videos, concerning Gordon and what those white people, even the city attorney, the local news media, the job that they have done to discredit that black mayor. And they did a good job at it. And DuBose Porter newspaper, which he is the executive chair, sat and put that woman through hell and low water. And we, as black people and white right people, continue to put that man back in the chair to serve the Democratic Party. And he, in my most humble opinion, along with the people that meet with us, is a disgrace to the Democratic Party. And somebody must say it, not behind closed doors or in the bathroom in the commode with the lid closed. We must tell the truth. Either Democratic leaders will stand up for us, or we must vacate the party in its entirety. Move around to Clayton County, Georgia, with my beautiful brother, I can't think of his name right now, who stood boldly before the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, in Macon to talk about what happened to him with the Board of Elections. And we do have a black lady, at that time anyway, in Clayton County that served no purpose. And yet the Democratic Party didn't come to assist that candidate whose name was left off the paperwork. Either the Democratic Party leadership will listen to us, or you will never get our vote again. I know. Many of you all are saying, are you that ignorant that you're going to withhold your vote and punish your children and don't vote at all about what's going on? We understand. You have to realize some of us are professional people. Many of us are active duty, retired military veterans, disabled veterans, etc., etc. But there come a time in life when you've been screwed so much, you have to pay a price. You must pay a price. And some of us are willing to pay that price. We want you to know that we will not be used and played for a fool any longer. Wait a minute. Haven't finished yet. I said earlier, these communities are being torn apart while the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, who has an all-white Board of Election, I repeat, who have an all-white state Board of Election, a board, and it is a disgrace, it is a disgrace, it is a disgrace.
Move over to Lumpkin, Georgia, with former Mayor Charles Gibson. Naya, the clerk was moved from office, overqualified for the job, and once again, the Democratic Party, the mayor, Gibson, was even called a nigger. And I'm asking you, where was the state president, DeBose Porter, on that issue? Well, as I said before, you got to understand, you must understand that we are tired and sick and tired of being tired. And it's time for the Democratic Party to continue to do what you do if you don't want our vote. All you have to do is continue it, and we are growing in numbers. Stacey Abrams have been made aware of this. Oh yeah, we have done everything that we could to get it out to candidates that people across the state of Georgia are fed up, overfed up with the Democratic Party. Go to Meigs, Georgia, where they played a game on that lady, man. Linda Harris, the mayor, they brought her up on trumped up charges of brotherly seed, criminal trespasses, both her brothers, 2 or 3 each. They ran that woman in the ground. The police chief, the sheriff, according to her, the reporter from the Thomasville Enterprise. You can see all this on my videos. You can see how Miss Murphy lied on her, and she finally was driven out of office. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google Meigs, Georgia, and Linda Harris, and watch the facts. I'm not talking what I heard. I'm not talking lies. I'm speaking the truth, backed up by bold, historic, archival facts. And yet, the Democratic Party don't care. Over in Camilla, Georgia, with Rufus Davis, the things that he's going through, I know he got contact. I know he respects Stacey Abrams and others, and that's good. I have no problem with that. But all I'm saying to the Democratic Party is live up to the people that have lived up and stepped up to the plate to support you over these many decades, only to be left in the doctor's room waiting to give birth, but the baby never comes. Go to Quitman, Georgia, in Brooks County with the Quitman 10+2. Oh man, it was a disgrace what they treated them. It took 4 years for those people to be cleared of 119 to 200 charges brought upon them by the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp. And it was indeed a disgrace, and I'm not going to try to educate you at this point. I just want you to Google the Quitman 10+2. Miss Lula Smart case. Her first case was a mistrial. Her second was a mistrial. Her third one, she won outright. They dropped all charges against her. And then the state of Georgia tried her the last time, but she was found not guilty. And where was the Democratic Party of the state of Georgia? Where was the leadership? DeBose Porter. Did he come? Did he show that he was concerned about what these people was doing? Had to fight a postal clerk, John Boone, had to fight a school board of education former attorney, had to fight white wrong people, had to fight Uncle Tom's and Aunt James of a darker hue, and yet had to fight the judges and the district attorney, had to fight the state prosecutor, and in the final analysis they won. They won just like Olivia Coley Pearson in Douglas, Georgia, when she was brought up on bogus charges because she speaks her mind just like her mother. She has never betrayed the black community nor the white community. It's just that the white wrong people and the Uncle Toms and Aunt Jane rising up against any strong black leadership. And it is indeed time for black folk to understand, just because you have somebody over the Democratic Party that may look good, smell good, taste good, and sound good, and even smell good, but when it comes down to standing up for you and your children and coming to these little small towns and tell them you're worth something, we respect you, they ignore these voters. And so now you got the voters ignoring you, Democratic Party, and you can say it's just me. But all I'm saying to you, keep ignoring us. Our numbers are growing. We are getting fed up with your lack of actions. And again, we are tired of being promised by the Democratic doctor that we are pregnant, but we never see the child born in the black and white right community. Wait a minute. I haven't finished yet. Don't you know when the Madison, Florida 12 dropped to the Madison, Florida 9, don't you know that it hurt those people when they needed people to come to their aid and to, if necessary, give a financial donation, if nothing else, when they go in the courtroom, to have somebody from the Democratic Party say, we care about you, you always vote Democrat. But Democrats ain't nowhere around. They nowhere around until they need your vote. And then they turn around and screw you and make a fool out of you. And it will not stop until it stops. And when the young man out of Columbus first told me about this movement, yes, it was an individual from Columbus, Georgia. He educated me in Sylvester, Georgia. I disagreed with him, and if you Google Sylvester, Georgia, you will hear me. And he said to me, that's because of your lack of ignorance. That's because of your state of ignorance. You can see that. This is what he said to me. You know. And I'm telling you, I was enlightened, and I already knew, because I had done all these videos, know he was right. But I said to myself, how can we not vote the Democratic Party? And he said, how can we vote the Democratic Party when we keep voting for them and they keep ignoring us? The young lady that you see on the screen now, she's out of Atlanta. I recorded more video and more news concerning the Equipment 10 plus 2 case than anybody in America. She's talking about how the G.B.R. lied on the stand. If you watch these videos and Google Equipment, Brooks County, you'll see how Pastor Avery talked about the Secretary of State, the District Attorney, the Postal Clerk, and others just lied on the stand, and the Democratic Party would not even pull the tape. That would be a historic document. I mean, that case with Equipment 10 plus 2, if the Democratic Party really cared, they could use that tape to shake and to wake up America by the transcript. You would not believe what happened in that court case, but nobody seems to care. The judge would not even let the press record on the courthouse grounds. Do you hear what I say? Let alone inside of the courtroom. And it is indeed a disgrace. And DuBose Porter is a disgrace along with the judges, the district attorneys, and others that are intimidating, suppressing, controlling, putting fear in elderly folks. Do you not know across South Georgia there are elderly folks up to 85 years old, committed themselves, said they would never ever vote again. Let me repeat. They said they would never ever vote again because of the manner in which the G.B.R. came to their home with guns, intimidated them, and put fear in them. And when they reached out for the news media wouldn't tell their stories, and the Democratic Party didn't care. And so you got some people are so fed up and sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it is indeed a disgrace. And so once again, I close as I started. Today is April the 16th, 4:39 a.m. in the morning, 2018. I was sitting here and I was thinking about how I get so many calls from the Democratic Party members. They have a great, outstanding system. Let me repeat. The Democratic Party have a grade A system of calling me in particular, asking that I contribute to the Democratic Party as I had done in some years past. And I tell them, I got some of them recorded, as they talk to me, and I tell them what I'm now telling you, that I will not donate and I will not vote. No, come November, if the Democratic Party don't weigh these words that I'm saying, if they don't weigh these videos that I've documented historically since 2007 and 8, if they cannot listen, if they cannot stand publicly in some of these little small towns and tell these people, tell these voters, tell these mistreated mayors, tell these mistreated commissioners, tell these people that we know you've been suffering, we have ignored you, but we have changed. We want to hear your cries because we want your vote. Now you can sit as a Democratic leader, DuBose Porter, and you can ignore us. I'm not going to try to get on major news networks and down the Democratic Party. That's not my job. That's for someone else. But what I will do, I will keep meeting with this group of people who have committed themselves not to vote the Democratic Party, regardless of how much pain it causes us. We're not going to do it because you, Democratic Chair DuBose Porter, you ignore these little towns, many of them with black majorities, with a black majority city council, a black county commissioner, in some cases even the mayor and the city manager is black. But you won't come to these areas and you won't even send letters out when people tell you about the voting irregularities, how they are suppressing, intimidating the voters, putting fear in old elderly people, and they refusing to vote for anybody. They won't even go to the polls. We sent information to Hillary Clinton, the president, the presidential candidate, and she did not respond to any of us. When we had our meetings and the question was asked, who responded? The answer was always the same. The Democratic Party, they use that information to call you and ask for a donation and how they need to change and get Democrats elected to counter the Republicans, as if though we are a fool after being screwed all these decades. Once again, this is the Get To Free Press. I'm George Boston Rhines in Valdosta, Georgia. I'm all over the web. I'm all over the internet, everywhere. I'm not going to give my phone number. I'm not going to give my email. I'm just going to give you the truth. I'm just going to give you the facts. But if you are really concerned, all you have to do is just visit some of these people, communities that I've called, and prove me to be wrong. Show me, Stacey Abrams, that you care about these communities. Show us that you really want to be the governor of the state of Georgia. I hear your words. I listen to you quite frequently. Yeah, you came to Valdosta. You came to Valdosta. We heard your message. Yeah, we heard you. But do you hear us? Do you hear us? And will you hear us in November when you continue to do what you do with the Democratic chair, DuBose Porter? But you don't do it with the Quitman 10 plus 2, the Brooks County community. When you don't do it with the voters in Meigs, Georgia, where they terminated Mayor Linda Harris. When you don't do it with Camilla, Georgia. I know the brother supports you, and I respect him. I respect him very highly because I have seen him with Mr. Attorney Crump. I've seen him with Al Sharpton and other great leaders across the nation. But I did not see where he called these communities out that I have just highlighted. I haven't heard where he said what I said about the Democratic Party not visiting these other small towns where the Democrats are catching hell in low water. I respect my beautiful brother, but the truth must be told so the lies can be exposed. Move on to Lumpkin, Georgia. Democratic Party could have went there and assisted those people. Dawson, Georgia, Chris Wright shot 6 times. And come to find out about 4 weeks ago that the city manager had a hit put on him. Yeah, the city manager. This came out in the court. I was called over there. The NAACP president told me about it. He didn't create it. This was told before the judge by the shooter. Chris Wright didn't die. So the guy didn't get the $5,000, but he was paid $1,000 because he did injure the man, according to court records. Where is the Democratic Party in that situation? Move on around to Clayton County, Gordon, Georgia, Warrenton, Georgia, Davisboro, Georgia, Sparta and Hancock County, Broxton, Georgia. All these areas, Willacoochee, Georgia, Douglas, Georgia, Broxton, Georgia, Homerville, Georgia. Just to mention a few now. There are others. If you go up into the Augusta and Athens area, there's another whole new situation up there. I don't have that list. A guy shared it with me, but soon we're going to add those people. They are frustrated with the Democratic Party. Yeah, man. They are really frustrated with the Democratic Party. But the Democratic Party don't care, you see. When I was a little child, my grandmother told us, say, one of the worst words we could use around our house was, I don't care. And the Democratic Party is showing us that they don't care about their voters. They are showing that they don't care about our children. And the truth must be told. For if you cared, you would not ignore us. My grandmother said that I don't care, don't have a home, and therefore it goes from mouth to mouth every day. Mouth to mouth every day. And the Democratic Party has proven to us in these little small towns that they don't care about us outside of money and our vote and making us promises that they never keep. Sperming us, but not impregnating us with knowledge and with elevation and with real love. So you all have a nice day. If you noticed, I didn't get excited. I didn't raise my voice because I love you too much. But I don't love you more than I love myself. I don't love you more, Democratic Party. I love my own children. And sometimes we who are real Democratic soldiers, military people, we must say to the Democratic Party, go to hell. Go to hell. Because that's where you got us at, in hell. And I know they say love your enemies. Do good to them that hate you, etc., etc. All that's good for the Bible. But in our homes, when we get sick, we go to the doctor. If we have cancer, they give us radiation. Sometimes they have to cut, and it causes us great pain to heal us. And so we are going to inflict a little pain on the Democratic Party and on the Democratic leadership to let them know we are trying to heal you. And we're going to cause you a little pain. We know you won't feel it at first. You'll ignore it like you have done. But when we grow in numbers across the state and across this nation, you will feel us. You will feel us, and you will come to us, and you will say something of value, and we will see that a child is born. A child is born. But the way it is today, as it is today, in Quitman, December 21st, 2010, Brooks County County Jail, that's where those black individuals was taken to. They called me. I was visiting my relatives in Atlanta. And I came back to Quitman, and I stayed on the case of the Quitman 10+2. You can Google everything that I have said, every word, every video I've mentioned, and see if I'm lying. And I want you to also see if I'm lying about this group of Democrats that have committed themselves, regardless of how much it costs. We are committed not to vote for the Democrats. nor the Republicans. Now the Green Party and Independents got a golden opportunity. All you have to do is go to these small towns where people have been made fools of and whores and make a difference. Convince them that you care about them, their children, their votes, and their donations. Once again, to Get To Free Press, George Boston Ryan, YouTube TV, Boston G.B.R. And I want to close by saying to you, as you watch these videos and you have see 23 views, you think that those are the only views. First of all, YouTube does not count the views, number one. Number two, Google my name and go to other websites who pull my videos. They're all across the internet, not just on my channel. Yet the views don't go up, but the information is going out. Yeah, the information is going out. And people are watching over 1,400,000 views on this channel. So if it's that many on this channel, you can imagine at least 5 million views around the world.
They were hoping that they would take the plea. But when they didn't do that, they had to prove their case. And if you were in the courtroom,
That's right.
you would have seen one of the biggest fiascos you ever wanted to see in your life.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right.
Yes,
Falsified documents.
That's right.
yes,
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
yes, yes, yes.
Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand,
Yes.
all to try to make these citizens look guilty.
My Lord, my Lord.
But thank God that we have a God who sits high.
Come on now.
And he
Yes,
looks
sir.
down.
That's right.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
Lord.
Lord.
That's right.
The sad thing about this case is Governor Deal,
Uh-huh.
who's the leader of the state of Georgia,
Uh-huh.
left the state capital
Uh-huh.
to come down here and suspend people who were elected to the school board.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
This election was certified
Yes, sir.
and without due process of law.
That's right.
Every person is entitled to due process of law,
Yes.
That's right.
but he's put it upon himself to suspend Dr. Nancy Danner, who has a doctor's degree,
Yes, sir.
Sister Diane Thomas, who has a master's degree,
Earn.
Ern, and Sister Linda Troutman.
Yes, Lord.
They treated us like, you got to excuse me for saying us,
Earn.
because I was just as angry as they were.
That's right. That's right.
Every citizen in Brooks County should have been angry
Upset.
Come on now.
Yes, sir.
for the way
Yes,
they
sir.
treated our citizens.
Yes,
That's right.
sir.
But yet many people didn't get involved because, number one, you thought they was guilty because the white man said they was.
There it is. Woo, woo. There it is. Come on now. That's all right.
That's it. And you're scared.
Come on now. That's it. That's it.
My question is, how are you going to get the horse back into the barn?
Yes, he is.
That's right.
These people's names have been tarnished, their reputation besmirched. They have been talked about, accused of different things. And now they are proven innocent. How are you going to get the horse back in the... How will you restore these people good name and reputation? How are we going to do that? We need to look at that and see what we can do to help them restore their good name. One thing that most people didn't understand, and I'm getting ready to to close were that when the G.B.R, the Secretary of State, canvassed the community, they tried to strike fear in the heart of the black community.
Woo! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
They didn't want you to vote.
That's right.
They especially didn't want you to vote absentee because those absentee ballots can be accounted for.
Yes, sir. Paper
That's
trail.
right. Paper
This
trail.
trial proved that there was corruption downtown.
That's right.
If it wasn't for the absentee ballots, it never would have been uncovered.
That's right.
Many people don't understand that when those incumbents were declared the winner that night and woke up and had lost the election that next day, it's because they didn't intend to count the absentee ballots.
That's right. That's right.
But God prevailed. Amen.
Amen.
The prosecution changed the wording on the ballots to prosecute Lula Smart. The language was not there in 2010. They changed it
My Lord, my Lord.
That's right.
on the ballot to make it look like she was guilty. The prosecution suppressed evidence.
Yes, sir!
They hid evidence.
Show they did! I'm a witness!
Amen. Show the wicked. Tell the truth.
I believe that we ought to demand,
Uh-huh.
as concerned citizens,
Yes.
that they drop the charges on every remaining member.
There it is! There it is!
What's so amazing is that Sister Dana and all of the workers on the poll had been trained.
Yes.
They knew what to do. But yet they tried to make it look like they were incompetent. But God prevailed.
Amen.
Few of the thousands of this trial, and then I'm going to sit down.
Amen.
I don't know about you, but I got angry when I looked. I didn't even vote absentee ballot that time. And here come the G.B.R. and the Secretary of State knocking on my door.
Wow.
Wow.
But one thing that happened that most people understand is that you all shut them down.
Amen.
Amen.
You all shut them down. When you told them that we're not going to answer your question, we voted who we wanted to vote for, I did what I wanted to do, get out of my yard.
Woo, there it is!
Because we want someone who love our children, who want to make a difference in our community. That's right. It's not because we did something wrong. We just want something. We want to change. We want something better for our kids. Because Bruce County is made up of black kids. So who is best to go in our school system to teach our children and let them know that you can be somebody. You can be a barber. You can be a doctor. You can be a lawyer. You can be the best that you know how to be. You don't have to go to McDonald's and work.
All right.
You don't have to go to the city of equipment and then they teachers. You can be the best that you can be. That's right. So why are you all making us feel like we are criminals because we want the best for our children? I'm sorry, y'all, but I get very emotional. I don't want to think about what they did to us. If I don't talk about it, it's like a dream. But when I talk about it, it's reality. I ain't never been to jail. I had never had handcuffs on my arms. And that hurts. That hurts. People don't realize. They stand by looking at us. They don't realize how this hurt us. Dogs are going to jail with handcuffs on us. And people think about it. People know us. People know who we are. And how you dare them that we are criminals. It's hard, y'all. It's hard. It's hard. People looking at you that he did something wrong when you know he did something wrong. I'm sorry. I thank y'all. I thank y'all for being here with us. I just thank God, God bless you very much, y'all. Continue to support us, God. We really do, y'all. We had y'all anything wrong, all we want to make a difference in our community. That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted.
Is a miscarriage of justice in the state of Georgia that cannot be overlooked. The Secretary of State and the Governor have made it very purposeful that they will send the message that if you are African American and if you run for office and if you honestly win the election, you will be punished. The Governor and the Secretary of State are trying to intimidate and suppress the African American vote since they know if the 400,000 registered African Americans in the state of Georgia that did not vote in the last election cycle come out and exercise a right that people have died for, the right to vote. If the African American community and all people of color exercise their constitutional right to vote, it will mean the demise of this white privileged aristocracy here in Georgia. That is not American. That is not worthy of the state of Georgia. This prosecution is a travesty. The prosecutors, the Secretary of State, the Governor should be called out on what they have done to these women and called to publicly apologize for the 4 years that they have put them under this scrutiny and this character assassination. So that's it.
Once again, we must thank Shaveen King. We must also thank Mr. Dennard for doing an outstanding job all the way. The NAACP has been here all the way. This is, of course, this is Lula Smart. All that she has been through, she violated no law. And if they had not stood their grounds, if they had plea bargained, we wouldn't have had this day. This case just may set a precedent here in Georgia and in the United States of America. This is a very high day, and we just hope that some conclusion can come to the other people that have been charged in what we believe was either a conspiracy or retaliation for Black African Americans dominating the Brooks County School Board of Education. This is the mother right here. And we want to thank, oh my God, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. That's Diane Thomas. You wanted to quit with 10 plus 2.
That's what I'm saying.
It is so thankful. So thankful. How you doing today? What do you want to say about it?
Oh, I just thank God. Thank God for this day that we've been waiting on for 5 weeks, 4 years. I just thank God that justice was done.
Then I was called to Gordon, Georgia, Mayor Ann Whippoorwill. But you don't hear nothing about that on MSNBC and Al Sharpton. 60 Minutes won't talk about that. ABC won't talk about that. They'll tell you about a cat trapped in a tree. or a dog that got ran over by an 18-wheeler. But when it come down to these situations, Lumpkin, Georgia, where Mayor Charles Gibson was called a nigger by a fellow council member, a white female. Nobody have come in. Secretary of State, Governor Nathan Deal, Georgia Attorney General Sam Olens, nobody is saying nothing about it. So all of us can't go to sleep at the wheel. All of us cannot go to sleep at the wheel. And so I have counted at least 11 cities where newly elected black mayors are catching pure heaven on the backside of hell. And yet, nobody says anything. It's getting strange, y'all.
First of all, I'd like to say that we commend the Quitman 10+2 for the way they handle themselves during this time. The thing about it that was so beautiful is that it was all of us.
Yeah.
And they had a wonderful team. Sister Lula Smart, Nancy Denner, Mrs. Simmons from Atlanta, and Attorney King. They made those people look like amateurs.
Yes.
Amen.
Woo! I want to give you a little background, but I'm so thankful to the Quitman 10+2 that they did not take a plea bargain.
Amen.
Amen. If they had been convicted of one crime, that would have been a felony on their records, and they would have been messed up for life. My prayer to God was total exoneration, innocent on all counts, and God brought us through.
Sure did.
I want to give you a little background. On December 2010, 10 citizens of Quitman, Georgia were arrested and accused of voter fraud. These citizens was arrested, unceremoniously put in orange jumpsuits, their names splattered all over the newspaper, the television, the radio, and this was only an indictment. An indictment is only an accusation. But yet these citizens were presumed guilty before there was even a trial. Amen. And we must understand that every citizen is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. When they was arrested, we thank God for the community that came together. And the first meeting was held at Bethel AME Church. We thank God for Bethel for opening their doors. I was the pastor there. We also like to thank our good friend Floyd Rose. Stand up. God always have people in place when you need them the most.
Amen.
He is a stalwart in the civil rights movement. He knew what to do. He even named the Quitman 10. Amen. He showed us how to get this movement organized. And we thank God for him. He's from the SCLC. Amen. We thank God for them and Tyrone Brooks coming down and helping us. Also, during this movement, the NAACP was started here. And that was to, there might be future cases that might come up, and we'll have an organization in place to make sure we can handle this situation. Now, the United States Constitution guarantees each person equal protection under the law. The United States Constitution guarantees that every person of our nation is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The rights of these citizens were violated. Amen.
Yes, sir.
And what angers me so is the fact that Sister Latasha Head died with these accusations hanging over her head.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
yet there are still with her 11 people that still have to be tried. This case has been going on for 4 years.
Sir.
Now, you have to understand one thing, and that is every person is entitled to a speedy trial. Their rights was violated. Now, why did it take over 4 years to bring these people to justice? It's because they didn't have a case.
Right, right, right.
Amen.
That's right.
They didn't have a case. They were hoping that they would take the plea. But when they didn't do that, they had to prove their case. And if you were in the courtroom,
That's right.
you would have seen one of the biggest fiascos you ever wanted to see in your life.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand,
That's right.
Yes,
falsified documents.
That's right.
yes,
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
yes,
did.
yes, yes.
Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand,
Yes.
all to try to make these citizens look guilty.
My Lord, my Lord.
But thank God that we have a God who sits high.
Come on now.
And he
Yes,
looks
sir.
down.
That's right.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
Lord.
Lord.